Welcome back to This Day in Irish History. I'm your host, Raymond Welsh. Before we dive into today's story, if you'd like to explore other significant events that happened on this day in Irish history, visit thisdayirishhistory.com. The link is in the episode description. Now, let's journey back to April 3rd, 1920, when the Irish Republican Army launched one of the most coordinated and symbolic actions of the War of Independence, the mass burning of over 300 abandoned Royal Irish Constabulary barracks and nearly 100 income tax offices across Ireland. By early 1920, the War of Independence had entered a new and more aggressive phase. The IRA, under the leadership of men like Michael Collins and Richard Mulcahy, had shifted its tactics toward a nationwide guerrilla campaign, while ambushes and targeted assassinations had already begun to destabilize British control. April 3rd marked a turning point in how the IRA demonstrated its reach, organization, and determination. The Royal Irish Constabulary, or RIC, had been a key pillar of British rule in Ireland for decades. These local police forces were often the first line of British authority in rural communities, but in the early months of 1920, the RIC began withdrawing from smaller, more isolated barracks due to constant attacks and growing hostility from the public. These vacated buildings, once seen as emblems of British control, became vulnerable symbols, ripe for destruction. Under cover of darkness, on the night of April 3rd, IRA units across the country launched an extraordinary coordinated campaign. In a matter of hours, they burned more than 300 of these now abandoned RIC barracks to the ground. The fires lit up the night sky, from Kerry to Armagh, a fiery message of defiance that reverberated across the island. The IRA didn't stop at police buildings. They also targeted the machinery of British economic control, destroying nearly 100 income tax offices. The choice to attack tax offices wasn't incidental. These buildings were where local people were forced to interact with the British state, contributing money that funded the very forces oppressing them. By destroying these offices, the IRA made a powerful statement. Not only would they resist British military control, but they would also sever the financial lifelines that upheld it. In doing so, they encouraged ordinary citizens to withdraw their cooperation from British institutions, accelerating the breakdown of Crown authority in the countryside. Perhaps most striking was the level of planning involved. Communications between IRA brigades had to be precise, secrecy had to be maintained, and timing had to be synchronized. This wasn't just random destruction. It was a calculated display of the IRA's ability to operate as a national force. It showed the British administration that this was not a collection of disjointed skirmishes, but a revolution with intent, capability, and structure. British authorities were stunned by the sheer scale of the operation. The attacks marked a psychological blow as much as a strategic one. For rural communities, the destruction of these buildings, many of which had long symbolized British oppression, offered a renewed sense of empowerment and solidarity with the Republican cause. For the British government, it became increasingly clear that Ireland was slipping from its grasp. In response, the Crown would escalate its own tactics in the months ahead, eventually deploying the notorious Black and Tans and auxiliaries in a brutal campaign of retaliation and suppression. But the events of April 3rd had already changed the narrative. They signaled that the British presence was not permanent, that its institutions could be dismantled, and that a new Ireland was being shaped by fire, determination, and strategy. This dramatic night of flames across Ireland also foreshadowed the shift from guerrilla warfare to broader civil resistance. Soon, Sinn Féin's parallel structures, courts, police, tax collection, would fill the vacuum left behind. The vision of a self-governed Ireland, no longer a dream whispered in secret meetings, was becoming a reality, built quite literally on the ashes of British rule. And thank you for joining me on this journey through Ireland's rich past. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, I'm Raymond Welsh. Slán go foill.